The Gupta brothers' South African journey began in 1993. Atul relocated to South Africa just as the country was opening up to the rest of the world. After a stint of selling shoes, he saw an opening in the PC business, and in 1994, Sahara Computers was born. Shortly thereafter, Ajay and Rajesh Gupta joined their brother Atul in South Africa. The brothers' real break came in the late 90s when Esop Pahad, close ally of soon-to-be President Thabo Mbeki, took Atul on a state trip to India in 1996. When Mbeki succeeded Nelson Mandela in 1999, Pahad became minister in the presidency. And by 2002, Ajay was serving on the International Marketing Council.
You would have differences of opinion. Nothing wrong with that.
Once in the trajectory of undue influence, the brothers soon sidled up to then Deputy President Jacob Zuma. In 2005, they hired Zuma's son Duduzane at Sahara. And in 2007, Duduzane's twin sister Duduzile became a director of the same company. But it wasn't until 2010 that alarm bells started ringing around the controversial family's political clout. The family launched the New Age newspaper, openly promising to portray a positive image of the ANC and government.
We will be critical too as well, but not such a harsh way. We believe South Africans know what our mistakes, we will correct very fast and will come again very positive.
Then, a partly Gupta-owned company called Imperial Crown Trading scored a lucrative BEE deal with ArcelorMittal's Sishen iron ore mine. The deal would have netted Duduzane Zuma and the Guptas a cool 1 billion rand, but it collapsed in 2011. And then, nothing could have prepared South Africa for Guptagate. A commercial plane landed at Waterkloof Air Force Base, a national key point. The plane was carrying about 200 guests who were going to attend the wedding of Vega Gupta, niece of Ajay, Atul and Rajesh. Government said those responsible for the breach of protocol would pay.
As many people have said, it's a serious matter.
The ANC crowd foul about name droppers.
That is what names dropping is all about. It's just exaggerate your weight in the face of the people you are engaging. It will happen now, it will happen in the future, it will continue happening. And until people are caught, they will continue doing it.
President Jacob Zuma was accused of orchestrating the landing, but did his best to ignore the debacle.
President Zuma, it's been 20 days since the Gupta landing scandal. Do you have a comment for us now?
There was a multi-department government probe into the incident.
No stone will be left unturned to ensure that we get to the bottom of this matter and hold all those responsible for bringing our country into disrepute, whoever they are, whatever positions they hold.
The probe found that 194 government vehicles and 88 state vehicles had been used in the incident. And former Chief of State Protocol Bruce Kolwane and the SANDF's Lieutenant Colonel Christine Anderson were found to be in serious breach of their duties. Kolwane pleaded guilty and later received a plum diplomatic posting, while charges were ultimately dropped against Anderson. In mid-2013, the Guptas launched ANN7, the TV version of the New Age, promising to offer a balanced but supportive view of government. In early 2014, Transnet changed a deal for new locomotives to include a Chinese consortium, later revealed to have been formed in partnership with the Guptas.
It will allow us to deploy locomotives that use modern technology, that are more environmentally friendly, that save on both diesel as well as electricity.
The SOE also inflated the price it would have had to pay per locomotive by more than 40%. In late 2015, concerns are raised about the quality of coal Eskom was receiving from Tegeta Exploration, the Gupta-controlled mining company. And before the end of the year, a bombshell.
I have decided to appoint Mr. David Douglas van Rooyen, a minister of the portfolio indicated in the signed President's Act, Minister of Finance.
Zuma announces the axing of Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene and appoints the little-known Des van Rooyen. He arrives at the National Treasury with 2 advisors linked to the Guptas. Amid allegations they were behind the latest move. Van Rooyen stays in the job for just 4 days, as Zuma reappoints Pravin Gordhan. The start of 2016, more controversy. Denel announces a joint venture to sell products to the Asian market with VR Laser Services, a company in which the Gupta family and Duduzane Zuma hold a 25% stake. And global consultancy McKinsey announces a cost-cutting project at Eskom, working alongside a local consulting group called Trillion, majority owned by Selim Essa, a shareholder in several other Gupta ventures. Then,
members of the Gupta family offered me the position of Minister of Finance to replace the then Minister Nene. I rejected this out of hand.
Nkambisi Jonas alleges he was offered 600,000 rand in cash and 600 million rand in a bank account of his choice to replace Nhlanhla Nene. Soon after, ANC MP Fakey Mentor reveals that the Guptas offered her the job of Public Enterprises Minister. Days later,
he basically said, Gupta, and that was the end of the conversation.
Former government spin doctor Themba Maseko alleges Zuma personally told him late in 2010 to meet the Gupta brothers and assist them to secure government advertising in the new age. Soon after, Public Protector Thuli Madonsela starts her state capture investigation, looking into allegations of undue influence by the Gupta family over government.
The public protector's powers are very clear. She's able to subpoena people, subpoena documents, and so forth. So we don't anticipate that anyone would want to stand in our way.
Amid severe pressure, the Guptas announce a plan to dispose of all stakes held in South African businesses within months. This doesn't materialize, and their influence, too, doesn't vanish.
Once he has sufficiently applied his mind on the matter, once the cabinet has dealt with this issue, it will elect to make it public.
According to Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane, Cabinet resolved to ask President Jacob Zuma to establish a judicial inquiry into the banks and their actions against the Guptas, as well as review the legislation that governs the banking system. Zwane was immediately rebuked and his statement rejected. And then Bell Pottinger entered the fray. Confirming government was made aware of recommendations of a proposed inquiry before it was announced by Zwane. In spite of a last-ditch court challenge by Zuma and van Rooyen, Thuli Madonsela's State of Capture report is released.
The public protector is ordered to publish the report forthwith and by no later than 1700 hours on 2 November 2016.
The report is damning. Phone records corroborated Jonas's claims about the finance minister post and also showed van Rooyen visited the Guptas every night for a week before he was appointed, and that Eskom's Brian Molefe was in constant contact with Ajay Gupta around the time coal mining contracts were secured for Gupta-linked companies. Madonsela recommended a state capture inquiry be put together by Zuma to probe the findings. In many ways, the State of Capture report was the beginning of the end of the Gupta Empire. But there were still a few more twists to the tale. In April 2017, another late-night cabinet reshuffle. Malusi Gigaba is announced as finance minister, replacing Pravin Gordhan.
I've decided to make changes to the national executive in order to improve efficiency and effectiveness.
Brian Molefe was supposedly earmarked for the position after he resigned as Eskom CEO in the wake of the State of Capture report. But the man, largely seen to have opened many doors for the Guptas during his stint as Public Enterprises Minister, got the nod.
Where I stand, I get called and instructed as to changes that are going to take place. I don't ask questions, I simply comply.
The Guptas fought on for the banks to reopen their accounts and for their questionable deals with the state to continue, aided and abetted by Bell Pottinger. But in June 2017, it all got thrown into the public eye. The Gupta leaks painted a picture of an intimate partnership between the Guptas, Duduzane Zuma, government ministers and parastatal executives. And as much as the Guptas and their associates tried to fight it,
We've only come onto their books in the past 2 years. Their companies have been supplying coal to Eskom for 40 years. No one is talking about those companies. Now, all I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to point fingers because I'm not in the finger-pointing business. But all I'm saying is if you want to get to the truth, open it up.
the Gupta dynasty came tumbling down, piece by piece. A downfall seemingly prompted by the results of the ANC's Nasrec elective congress. Fingered in the Estina dairy scam, charges were laid against the infamous family, and their once untouchable Saxonwold compound raided. But the brothers remained out of public view, surfacing in Dubai, and have not yet returned to South Africa, even though their closest associates appeared in court to answer to allegations of state capture. Will the Guptas ever return to South Africa and face the music? Nickolaus Bauer, Johannesburg.